Hey everyone, welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name's Emma and I've just recently started this channel. Today's video is going to be the Booktube Newbie Tag. Part of the content that I want to put on my channel is books, as you can probably tell from the title, Based Books and Beauty. So I've already put up a couple of videos for Booktube, and I just thought, hey, I haven't actually done the standard first video that so many of us do, so I'm going to give that a go today. So I can't remember the name of the YouTuber that started this tag, but I will link it down below. I actually got reminded to do it by someone that commented on my videos. I think her name's Aramus. I'll link her channel down below as well. So I watched hers and I was like, oh, I haven't done that. I'm going to go and give it a go. So thank you for reminding me to do that tag actually. So the first question for the Booktube Newbie Tag is, why did you start this channel? So obviously this channel's not going to be completely Booktube. I'm kind of cheating a little bit. I'm planning to do book related content like TBRs and recent reads and things like that, anything that I kind of fancy having a go at. I also do sort of weekend vlogs. I'm going to do a little bit of beauty stuff thrown in, just whatever I fancy doing. I didn't really want to just limit myself to one thing, so I'm allowing myself the ability to do whatever I fancy vlogging, basically. But the reason I started sort of wanting to do the Booktube side of things is that it's something that I watch constantly. I love watching wrap-ups, I love watching TBRs, and it kind of made me think of making them in my head, and I just want to start sharing them. So one of the biggest things I'm hopefully going to get to be able to do is have a chat to folk in the comments about books that we've both read, things like that. I don't have a great deal of bookish friends. Most of my friends are not readers, so this is almost an outlet for me. I think a lot of booktubers can say the same thing. It's an outlet to chat about your favourite books with like-minded people and have a bit of a debate over what's good and what's not, things like that. So I can't get that from my friends in person, so I'm going to hopefully try and find it on here. So the second question is, what are fun and unique things I can bring to Booktube? So that is pretty difficult. I don't know how much unique things can be brought to Booktube at this point. It's obviously been around for a long time, and there's people on Booktube that cover lots of different genres that have got their own unique styles and things like that, but I think originality is probably going to be quite tricky on this platform. It's just been around so long, so I can't promise I'm going to be unique, and it's not really what I'm striving to do. I just want to kind of have a place to chat about my favourite books, and hopefully some people see the videos and like them and we can chat about books. It's pretty simple. I'm not really trying to have a gimmick or any kind of selling point, I suppose. I like lots of different genres. I have kind of varied tastes. The one thing about me that I definitely think is different from other booktubers, maybe not necessarily a good thing, but something I've noticed recently watching their videos, is they all seem to like to go into books blind. I don't like going into books blind. I like to have a good idea of what the book's about, and I often have a look at the reviews. I don't like spoilery things, but I do like to have a fairly solid idea of what I'm about to read before I get into it. And from the videos I've been watching recently, I think that's either an uncommon opinion, or so many of them are like, oh, here's a book for my TBR, but I only know like a tiny bit about it and I'm just going to go in blind. And I'm like, that just makes me anxious. I don't want to go in blind. I want to know what this book's about. I want to know if I'm going to like it. I mean, obviously there's no guarantees, but I want to have a fair idea. I don't want to commit myself into a book that I don't know if I'm going to like, because I'm really bad at DNFing things that I don't like. So I tend to just push through even if I hate it. I think my DNFs are probably still in single figures for my entire life. I have to really despise something to stop reading it, because I just always want to give it a chance all the way to the end, which is something I'm trying not to do as much anymore, because there's not time for bad books. There's so many good books in the world, there isn't time for bad books, but I can't convince myself when is a good point to stop reading if I'm not enjoying it. So like I say, I like to know what I'm going into. I don't know if that will make my TBRs a bit more informative, or maybe just makes me boring. I don't know. But that's probably the only thing about myself that I think is different from the booktubers I watch. But how that actually will relate to the channel, I don't know. The third question for the Booktube Newbie Tag is, what are you most excited about for this channel? So I think I've probably already covered it. This is hopefully going to be my outlet for chatting about bookish thoughts and the things I've been reading, things I want to read. Yeah, so I just want to be able to have a place where I can chat about things I'm excited about, where my non-bookish friends' eyes don't glaze over. Because, yeah, not many people I know actually like to read, so, or if they do, they write to read things that I don't like to read, or it's just one type of genre and not anything else, and yeah, so basically I just want somewhere to chat about it, and hopefully folk will want to chat to me about it too. That's kind of the basics. That's what I want from the booktube side of things, I suppose. I get a lot of my recommendations from booktube, although I don't necessarily end up loving everything I get from it. It's kind of a big part of my reading life, and I want to contribute, and I want to get sort of fulfillment out of it. So that's basically the answer to that one. The fourth question is probably the hardest one to find an original answer to. Why do you love reading? I think most people that like to read primarily fiction, especially, would say escapism. It's just reading something out with your day-to-day life. It's certainly why I like fantasy, paranormals, that kind of thing, because even crime novels, because I'm not a copper. It's just basically putting yourself in the shoes of a different character and living experiences that you don't live in your day-to-day life, and getting sucked into a story, so you don't have to think about your job and paying the bills and all the odds and sods that make up your life. That's definitely what I like to do. I like to just sink into someone else's world, and that's what I get from books. I think most people would say that. I've obviously started reading, I've started reading more non-fiction as I've gotten older. I think while I was in school and university I didn't do that because I was being forced to read it, so I didn't enjoy it, but now I have areas of interest that I want to read more about, be it animals or mental health or various other bits and bobs. So I actually have some non-fiction topics that I want to read more on, so I do read a bit more of that now. I can honestly even say I've read financial books, which my boyfriend loves to tell me that makes me really boring. So I suppose that's to increase my knowledge and learn about things that are going to aid my life, but they're still the minority of what I read. I still think that it's more the escapism route that I'm going for, but I love to have a bit of everything going on. So question number 5 is, what book series got you into reading? Now, I've been reading for as long as I can remember, so this is kind of a guess in a way, because I don't remember not reading. So the first series I remember being completely obsessed with were the Animal Arc books. Now, I can't remember the author's name, but hold on. I'm looking back, I think she wrote another series that I still actually have on my shelves. So I'm pretty sure it was Lucy Daniels that wrote the Animal Arcs books. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself down below. But they were a series of books, basically, where the main character, I'm sure her name was Mandy. Was it Mandy? I can't remember now. But anyway, there'd be her and her best friend, and there would be some sort of animal in trouble, or animal lost, or animal being rescued. It was the basic theme, and there was loads of them. I swear there was like 20 or 30 of these books. They were quite short, they were for kids, but I obsessively collected those, and that was definitely my main series when I was younger. Really, really young, obviously, and yeah, that's the series that sticks in my mind of the first one that got me into reading, and I'm sure but she did other series, and I looked into those, like Dolphin Diaries and Sheltie the Shetland Pony. Definitely an animal theme here. Horses and animals and stuff were always in my life as well, so that was the series, the author, the theme of the books that I read when I was younger. So yeah, that my taste I've definitely diversified since then. I mean, animal books are fantastic when you're a kid, but as you get older, sometimes it's hard to find ones that are as good, unfortunately. I struggle to find animal-based books that are interesting. It's probably why I like shifters and paranormals so much, because it gives me a taste of the animal stuff, but I don't know, it's really difficult to find adult books about animals that I like, so any recommendations for those will never go amiss, but I'm yet to really find any of those. Probably why I had to start branching out a little bit. And as I got older, I moved into paranormals. That was definitely my next thing. A series I'm rereading at the moment, The Dark Hunters by Sherilyn Kenyon. That was my next big series that I got obsessed with and branched out from there. So basically vampires, werewolves, shifters, witches, things like that, things that are away from reality, things that involved myth, stuff like that. And I've branched out from there. That was in my late teens, early 20s, and I've now I kind of read a bit of everything, to be honest. There's not a lot that I would say I wouldn't give a go if I came across it. So yeah, that's kind of my major things. It's number 6. This is a really tough question. What questions would you ask your favourite booktubers? I have no idea. Like, I like so many booktubers. I think the ones that are jumping out at me are the Peruse Project, so that's Reagan, Katie Wismer from Kate's Book Date, Jean's Bookish Thoughts, that's Jean Mingus. They're the 3 I think I watch the most. I watch other channels like the Anna Edit and Arna Elaine, and also they're more lifestyle channels, but they have kind of book sections and book updates in those as well, which I like. Not all of them necessarily read exactly what I would want to read, but you know, what I would ask them, I have no idea, because it's just there's too many things. I would rather just have a chat with them over a book we've both read, you know, but I couldn't name one of those. Chat with one of my favourite booktubers over something we've both read would be great. And why don't we just all get together and be in a book club? That would be wonderful. Let's just join a massive book club, and that'd be great. But yeah, I don't really know what I would ask them specifically, because it's just too big a question, really. Number 7 is, what challenges do you think you will face in starting a booktube channel? So I think I've already covered this. I think originality is a really difficult one, because I think so many ideas have been done to death. I feel like being different in this space is really difficult. And then I suppose being found by the people that like what you like. I'm not entirely sure how it all works. Obviously, the more engagement you get on your channel, you show up on other people's searches and things. But I don't really know how it works apart from that. But yeah, being found by the people that actually want to listen to you chat about books, I guess. There are so many people on BookTube. How do you stand out? I don't know. That's probably one of the biggest challenges. But yeah, that's another tricky question, but that's my thoughts on there. Question number 8, we're nearly at the end now. When did I start reading? So like I said earlier, I always read. When I couldn't read, I was read to. My granddad in particular used to always read to me, and he got me into books. He was the only other person in my entire family that liked books, so it was just me and him that liked to read. So yeah, he used to read to me. He used to buy me books for Christmas and birthdays and things, and he used to take me. We used to go book shopping together, things like that. So he started off the love of reading, and I will always be grateful to him for that. And yeah, as soon as I learned to read, so when I was in primary school, obviously started reading, and then it was just whenever I could get to the library, whenever I could get to a bookshop, whenever I could get my hands on books. I think I drove my family nuts because they did not get the obsession. I've always been reading, so I think I've taken small breaks or slumps, or like everyone does, when other things come up, but no, reading's always been a part of my life, and probably more so now than maybe in my late teens, early 20s. That was obviously a lot of university stuff, and you're doing so much studying, so reading for fun was definitely not high priority then, just because I had to do much other reading. But yeah, it's always been around. Question number 9 is where you like to read. So I can read anywhere. I like to always have a book on me. It's like a security blanket. Used to be, I always had to have a handbag or a backpack big enough to carry what I was reading, sometimes even a spare. I'm really strange. Obviously now I can read on my phone, so that's not required as much now. But yeah, when I'm out and about, I listen to audiobooks on my phone. If I'm sitting waiting somewhere, then I'll whip out the phone for an ebook. If I'm at home, me and the boyfriend like to listen to some audiobooks together. That's something we do to spend time together, and curl up in bed at the end of the day with a print book. You know, I read anywhere and everywhere, pretty much. As long as you've got one with you or an access to a book, there's no reason you can't read anywhere, in my opinion. So yeah, that's that one. And finally, the last question. I feel like I've been chatting for ages, but it's probably not been that long. What kind of books do you like to read? So I love paranormal books, I love fantasy books, read a lot of crime books. I've been starting to read more non-fiction, so I've been reading some sort of mental health related stuff, and sort of sciencey things. I like to read that kind of stuff too. So I've got a really broad tastes. I've gotten a bit more into contemporaries than I used to. It's not something I read a lot of. If I need something lighthearted, I'll probably read that. But a bit too close to everyone's everyday life, so I find that it's probably a bit more dull, just because, you know, a book about going to school or going to work, we all do that, so it's less exciting. But I do occasionally like something like that, something lighthearted and fluffy, if I need to just read something that's easy. Yeah, so I read pretty much everything. Trying to think of a type of book I don't like to read. I suppose that would be easier to pinpoint, really. I'm not a huge fan of classics. I've read a couple, I suppose just because I don't find them relatable because they were written so long ago. It's something I would like to try and read again, but it's more just for, it makes you look good if you read classics, I suppose. But yeah, I can't say they excite me that much, but maybe give them a go again in the future. I don't particularly like things that are too dark. I mean, there are some dark books that I do really, really like, but some stuff really doesn't sit well with me, so I suppose I struggle most with things that are to do with sexual violence and things like that. But I'm not saying I wouldn't read books like that either. I do, and I like a few. But I suppose there's certain topics that I would avoid more than others. I'm not hugely into gangster stuff, but again, I do read it sometimes. It depends on the way it's written. But yeah, I mean, my tastes are expanding so much that I will read most things, especially if I get a good recommendation from a booktuber or a friend or anything like that. So yeah, that is a long, rambly Booktube Newbie Tag. So that's me done everything I want to say for today. Hopefully you would like to see more of me and or maybe watch some more of my videos or hit the subscribe button. That would be fantastic. And I will be back with another video soon. Bye!